All right, let's get started. Welcome to Open Doors Community Church. I see a few new faces, so if you're new, welcome. If you're old, welcome. Today we'll continue our Atheism for Lent series. We're in week 3 and we have two or three more weeks to go in this series. First, there are some announcements. So, John, there we go. Open Doors Seminary will begin tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow will be the first day of class, but there's not really days of classes. It's a 16-week course, and there's a video course that we'll be watching on Bible University. The topic is hermeneutics, so basically how to read the Bible. If you want to join, it's free, and you can join by joining our Facebook group. If you're not a member of Facebook, Open Doors Community, you can search, and we'll accept you there, and then you can register for the seminary class. Those who want to will also meet on Saturdays to talk in person about the material if you're available to do that. Second, Rubato concert. Rubato is the name of my partner's orchestra group at university, June assistant. He'll be having his concert this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. at Chunong University Arts Center. We'll be putting a map online on the Facebook group so you know how to get there. And as far as I know, the tickets are free. But if you want to come, please let us know early this week or tonight so we can decide how many tickets we need to get. Third, start saving for Amplify 2013 in Hong Kong. Amplify is all Asian LGBT conference. Last year, 4 of us went, and hopefully more can go this year. The cheapest tickets I found so far are 330-something thousand won round trip, which I think is pretty cheap. And the actual conference registration is pretty cheap too. So you could probably go for around $500. So start saving for that if you want to go. That'll be June 7th to 9th. It's a Friday to Sunday. We'll be leaving. You'll probably need to take off work on Friday if you don't want to come late. But we'll be back Sunday afternoon. So if you have work on Monday, we'll be back in time for that. Any questions about this or any other announcements? Yes.
When is the latest that we can tell you by lunch?
I'm going to say tomorrow.
Yeah. Alright, so we really need to know that soon?
Yeah, like tonight or tomorrow afternoon.
About going for the...
For Amplify or for June's concert?
For Amplify.
Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah, they haven't even started the registration process. Yeah, sometime in May. I'm sitting on this comfortable couch because I drank too much last night. What?
Sorry, you said that we can't get tickets for the Rubato concert anymore?
I don't know for sure. June will be here later, so we can ask him when he comes. All right.
We light this candle, symbol of the light within us and around us. May this gathering for worship enlighten our hearts and our minds and our souls. And may the inner light of love be kindled by our time together.
Amen.
It's a new song by Jason Brown, so if you don't know it, just
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky, all beautiful sunrise, but there's so much they hold. And just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. When you're leading your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting to see what you find. Seeing the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't want to be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. Still looking up, still looking up, but I won't give up on us. God knows I'm tough. He knows we got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
I love that song. If you're not a member of the Facebook group, I posted this earlier this week, that song that we just sang. Sort of my covenant, my pact with this church. I'm not giving up. Don't give up on me. Right, we're all in this together. God knows we're worth it. I think it's a good little covenant song for us. Please join me in our gathering reading the yellow parts. Come into this circle of community. Come into this sacred space. Come into this circle of community. Come into this sacred space. Be not tentative. Bring your whole self. Bring the joy that makes your heart sing. Bring your kindness and your compassion. Bring also your sorrow and your pain. Bring your brokenness and your disappointments. Spirit of love and mystery, help us to recognize the spark of the divine that resides within each of us. May we know the joy of wholeness. May we know the joy of being together.
Bon Jovi, It's My Life.
I think there's two people's names in here, and I don't know who they are, but if you know someone who's lived their life, because it's their life, change those two names to some people you know. Can you go back?
That's it. Go back to the slide before. There we go. Middle slide.
Yes.
This space is sacred because of the lives, hopes, and dreams of those who have gone before us. This time is sacred because we have set it apart for being together as one. And we are sacred because we all bear the imprint of the divine. Divine love who turns the ordinary into the sacred, be with us in the daily routine and in the mundane. Remind us again that you ask nothing of us except to do justly, love mercy, and to walk humbly, a way of living that makes our very lives holy. In the silence now, we call to mind the times that we have failed to honor ourselves and others as sacred beings, the times when we have failed to treat the world as a sacred space, the times when we have neglected to look for the spirituality that can be found in the everyday, and we listen for the still small voice that encourages us to forgive ourselves and begin again. Let us keep silence together. Life is precious and is a gift. The world is beautiful, and we are privileged to live here. May we know this as truth, and what we know as truth, may we exhibit in our lives.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about like a ship on the ocean, I set across the winds of fortune. But I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
barriers erected between people of different lands. We see sheets of steel and towers of concrete called protection. We see boundaries policed, watch men, women, and children running from hunger and persecution, looking for a gap in the wall. Despite our differences, we are one. We see walls of fear, fear of the young or old, fear of the stranger, fear of sexuality that is different, fear of the educated and uneducated, fear of the poor, fear of the Muslim, fear of the Jew, fear upon fear, endless and perpetuating. And we offer our silent prayer that solid walls of fear will crumble to dust. Despite our differences, we are one. We hear the language of separation, the jingoistic chant, the racial slur, words of indifference and dismissal, words arranged for the purpose of exclusion, words that sting and taunt, words that lie. Let us find words that ring with love and truthfulness, that reach out through the emptiness of separation. Despite our differences, we are one. We see the diluted barriers of the mind protecting self. We see relationships stripped of affection as one person becomes closed off to another. We see people trapped in misunderstanding, old hurts reignited, bricks placed higher on the wall, goodwill and trust suspended. And we ask for boundaries that are not impenetrable, through which light can shine and distance be dissolved. Despite our differences, we are one. And when we need these boundaries for our own well-being, let us know them for what they are. Use them wisely and kindly, recognizing our own vulnerability and that of others. So each of us can find the space for retreat and rejuvenation, find that peace that passes all understanding, and be renewed with strength and love for the task of living life joyfully in communion with all others. It's on a Bon Jovi kick this one.
Strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. And she dragged you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throat and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew a hallelujah. Baby, I've been here for. See this room, I walk this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you. And I seen your flag on marble arch. Your love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. who are truly. And it's not your cry that I hear, and I know it's not someone who's seen a light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
All right, now John is going to either teach us or lead us in a song.
Do you want mine?
Okay, so if you know this song, I'll go ahead and sing along. Well, I will, we're gonna sing this chorus. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. So that part, we're gonna sing it over and over and over again. So if you know that part, I invite you to join in. So yeah, Craig's right, this is a Sam Cooke song. Really nice song. I was born by the river in a little town, and just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there far beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to the movies and I go downtown, but my friends all tell me, don't you hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. And then I go to my brother. I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. There have been times when I thought I couldn't last that long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
All right, tonight's the third sermon in the series Atheism for Lent. Tonight we'll talk about one of the biggest problems Christianity faces, and that's the problem of evil and suffering in the world. And tonight's really not necessarily an atheistic argument. It's an argument concerning human reality And if we believe in God, it's something that we must seriously think about, and I'm sure most of us have. So the problem was originally posed, as far as I know, by the Greek philosopher Epicurus. And it's been expanded into the following set of logical premises, culminating in a conclusion. So let's take a look. On the next slide, you'll see the premises that are rooted in Epicurus's philosophy. So number one, God exists. Number two, God is omnipotent, omniscient, and perfectly good. I'll explain what some of these terms mean in a little bit. Number three, a perfectly good being would want to prevent all evil. Number four, an omniscient being knows every way in which evils can come into existence. Number five, an omnipotent being who knows every way in which an evil can come into existence has the power to prevent that evil from coming into existence. Number six, a being who knows every way in which an evil can come into existence and who is able to prevent that evil from coming into existence and who wants to do so would prevent the existence of that evil. Number seven, if there exists an omnipotent, omniscient, and perfectly good being, or God, then no evil exists. But, number eight, as we all know, evil exists. And so for Epicurus and many modern philosophers, number eight is a logical contradiction if 1 through 7 are true. So let me explain very quickly what a couple of these terms mean. You saw the terms omnipotence and omniscience. Omnipotence simply means all-powerful. So omnipotent, God is all-powerful. Omniscience means God is all-knowing. Okay, so those two terms, all-powerful and all-knowing, are what they mean. These two characteristics, besides the assumption of God's existence, are crucial to Epicurus' argument. Omnipotence has, for the most part and until fairly recently, been understood by most Christians to mean that God has the power to do whatever God wants, as long as what God wants is logically possible. Omniscience has, for the most part and until fairly recently, been understood by most Christians to mean that God knows everything, past, present, and future, perfectly. So there's nothing that God doesn't know. So our first question tonight is, what do you think of Epicurus' argument? And let's go back to that slide. There you can see it. I'm sure we've all thought about this problem before. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I somehow remember learning at some point that evil was caused by the devil and God actually couldn't control the devil. I don't know if that's...
Well, a lot of Christians would say that some evil is caused by the devil. And the free will argument comes into play a little bit later in the sermon that we'll talk about. So the free will of the devil and the free will of human creatures are, according to most Christians, the cause. But that's what I think in Sunday school.
Yeah, I think this is a good logical argument. Difficulty with logical arguments as opposed to paper, etc., is, even some of the greatest atheistic thinkers and greatest logic will tell you a logical argument does not have to be correct to be logical. You can have big inaccuracies, you can have big fallacies in it. I think there's some mistakes or some assumptions that he's making in his argument to get to this conclusion, or leaving out some things. Such as, okay, it says here, God who, I have to write it, break it down a step at a time. It assumes that, how to say this, it's got issues of free will, and it assumes that God would create automatons and that would be perfect. And there's a lot of those kind of assumptions that are into this argument. It's a lot, or that this argument ignores.
What he just said, I feel, is right there in step 3. A perfectly good being would want to prevent doesn't mean a perfectly good being would act on it. Those are two different things.
Rick, did you read your name?
Yeah, just getting with theological work. In the Bible, in Greek, there are two different words that are used for the will of God. One word is thelema and one is philema. And I'm assuming you know. And I always say them backwards. One of them is basically the eternal preordained counsel of God. God has decided it will happen. There is nothing anyone can or will do. It will happen. Then there are other things that's God's desire. God wants what is best, but then the cooperative work of man, again, where man has a free will, that man can choose to reject God's desire for him.
I've never 100% struggled with this issue because I've never really believed that God is omnipotent and omniscient. I've never believed that. But I believe that if he was, I often think that he would have created some sense of evil because I think that everything that is good comes from the overcoming of evil. We can't be courageous if we don't have fear. We can't be generous if we don't have lacking or hunger. Everything that's good comes from that evil in the world that causes us.
So kind of evil as a character building.
Yeah. Like we can't have the good without we wouldn't know what good was if we had no experiences. So this has never been a huge struggle for me because I've often thought that perhaps God created evil as a way of understanding what is evil. So it's I get the logic behind it, but I guess the point is I argue with number two. I don't really think that 2 or 3 really apply in my schema of gods.
And I'll tell you, it's a very Greek argument, right? The Greek idea of perfection and God, unchangeable, immutable, all of these immutable. Anyway, these perfect ideals, which isn't the God that I see in the Scripture. It's the Greek philosophical notion is kind of been implanted onto the way that we understand God, but it doesn't seem very good.
I want to stress that point. I think it's very logical. It's very brainy. And it leaves out the whole thing of what we briefly mentioned, free will and love. A perfectly good being will not force you to love.
Right.
Will give you the freedom to love.
Right.
So in that sense, yes, a perfectly good being would want to prevent, would desire to prevent that evil, but won't just block it, because then if there's no free will to choose love, then it's not a good being. Somebody that forces me to love them is abusing me. Then I'm in an abusive relationship, not in a loving relationship. So I see it from that perspective, and I feel that's where the faults come in. This is a schema in the Greek philosophy that worked at that time. That's how they argued. But I don't feel it's, in that sense, relevant totally, because it leaves out certain other things of a good being. That's only some characteristics of a good being, not all the characteristics of a good being.
Carlo?
Yeah. I completely agree with what you're saying, CJ. I mean, and further to that, I think that's a very linear way of approaching understanding God. I wouldn't dispute any of those things, but I would say that I don't think it's possible for us, just in an abstract sense, to encapsulate God within logical boxes as such, in such a linear sort of way. I think that there's a process that's going on, and I could be completely mistaken. But I do think, on another note, that there's no notion of free will if there's no point of contrast. If everything's good, then there's no ability to choose good versus. And I think that in this process, maybe, I don't know. And then one last thing, sometimes things learn by going through that whole loop of just going through what's not good, and then they learn by themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was a particularly really good sense to me.
what strikes me is that sometimes you have to struggle with like the evil inside of you and evil of the world and kind of like the temptations posed by the devil in order to want to come to God and to just strive for like a deeper, greater understanding. So I don't know if God just wants us to never be exposed to any evil at all, but maybe what he wants is for us to overcome it and want to try to be better and more loving towards him.
So I would just go to
So I must admit that the problem of pain and suffering has always been the thing that caused me the most doubt in my Christian faith. Not my own pain and suffering, because comparatively mine hasn't been all that bad compared to other people in the world. I think this is true of a lot of tender-hearted Christians. It's difficult to read the news or watch television shows depicting starvation and rape and war and other atrocities and not feel as if God should be doing something to alleviate such needless suffering. And philosophers can philosophize all day long about how suffering may play into God's grand plan, but armchair or couch philosophizing often feels empty when one considers the lived reality of those who are suffering. Just think of the videos of the tsunami victims in 2005 and the Japanese tsunami. When you see things like that, I hope you wonder, how can God allow something like this to happen? I think there are two Christian theologians who have helped me come to at least understand how God can be good and loving while evil and suffering exist in the world. Their positions do not solve the whole problem, nor do they take away the existential pain of those who are suffering, but they help us understand how a good, loving God can coexist with pain and suffering. The first of these theologians is named Alvin Plantinga. Briefly, his position on the coexistence of a good God and suffering is a free will position. And so this is where free will comes into the equation. This is an old defense of God's good character in the face of evil and suffering. And Plantinga, in my opinion, is one of the most able defenders of this position in modern theology. Basically, his argument is this. You can see on the screen. Number one, free will is necessary for human and other created beings to truly love. Free will, number two, also poses the potential for hate. Number three, God gave his creatures free will so they could choose to love. Number four, God treasures free will over compulsion or forcing people to do something. Number five, human suffering arises from humans using their free will to hate instead of love. Number six, universal or cosmic suffering, like earthquakes and tsunamis, arises from supernatural beings using their free will to hate instead of love. And so here, suffering exists because of free will. As much as we can love, we can also hate and cause pain. So this has always seemed to me to be a fairly tight argument, at least intellectually. I think most of us would prefer a universe in which we're able to exercise our free will rather than being forced to be or to act in a certain way. It poses a certain problem for some modern people who have difficulty believing in angels and demons. But I think Plantinga's argument could be modified to substitute evolutionary processes for supernatural beings in point number 6, and come away with a similar conclusion. All in all, it's a good intellectual argument. At the existential level, though, the experiential level, it probably provides little comfort for those experiencing suffering. The little girl being raped or the prisoner in Auschwitz would probably prefer a universe in which free will did not exist, at least at that moment in time. So question number 2 is, what do you think of Plantinga's free will argument? Do you think it answers the question?
First of all, what is argument number 6? Is that aliens? What are supernatural?
Angels and demons.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Aliens wouldn't technically be supernatural.
Okay, sorry. One thing I've always struggled with is how can we have free will if God is omnipotent or omniscient, knows everything, including our future? And how do we have free will?
The second theologian I'm going to mention will answer that question.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot what else I was going to say.
But I think it's very, like most Christians who believe that God is completely omniscient, knowing past, present, and future, will make the distinction that knowing is not the same as ordaining. So just because God knows something doesn't mean God planned it. Do you understand that distinction?
Yes.
Rick?
Yeah, dealing with that, the mathematician in me kicks in. I said it was like a flowchart. It's like God knows all the possible choices people will make and all the possible outcomes, and knows what choice you choose to make, and you still have all the choices on the outcomes. That makes sense. It's like because we think of God. One of the things I've had to learn in doing anything thinking of God, we tend to, because we as individuals are locked into time and space, we think and we project that onto God's knowledge and God's ability. He's not like in it with us, like trapped the same way. It's like he can, like from above, he can see it all.
And that blows my mind to think of something outside of time and space. But
And
that's what traditional theologians will say.
The difficulty I've heard others say with this, though, is yes, God doesn't preordain it, but God still, if he knew when Hitler was born, what Hitler was going to do, and did nothing about it. That's where the problem is, that you find many people who have lost faith, have lost people.
I want to say two things. First, about the one of evil persons doing evil things. I think it's not a case of God did nothing. God gave other people the power to stop those evil people, and they just choose not to do it. That's how I see that. Second one, number 6, yes, maybe there are angels and demons doing that, but I would, like you say, not necessarily evil, not necessarily evolutionary processes, but the Bible teaches us that the whole universe is in a state of decay, and that is consequences of the state of decay. And if we love enough to plan enough ahead, we won't plan things so close to places where this decay can happen.
When was this postulated? What time?
Well, Plantinga is still alive, so he's advancing this argument.
Some things in number 6 are actually proven to be better in the long run. For example, hurricanes and tornadoes at peak, I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I remember hearing that they had tried to find a way to prevent that, and they found out that that would be devastating to crops because the soil gets stirred up during those events. So it was something that was actually necessary, even though it was quite detrimental to people living there. So, yes, there are terrible things that happen, but perhaps they have a purpose that goes beyond what we know for the greater good. But I agree that that's hardly comforting to somebody who is in the tsunami, never been destroyed, and it's not overwhelmingly insensitive to say, oh, well, that perhaps may have a better
And this is an experiential problem, right? It's not an intellectual problem.
right.
Intellectual. We're doing intellectual exercises here to try to understand it, but it's very, like you said, very little comforting. Carlo?
I don't know. Once again, I could be wrong in saying this, but this is just like me and my own personal, I guess, imagination. But when it comes to free will, I just sort of think like this whole thing is like a process, and it doesn't address one through anything at any of the points on the screen. It's just sort of like, I personally just think it's easy to create, let's say, a drawing on a piece of paper with lots of creatures and animals, but if they have no capacity to, if I'm a creator, to like me back, it would feel lifeless. But if they had like, and this is a very basic thing I'm saying, but if they had the ability to choose me versus whatever, I would want to, if I had the ability to give whatever creations free choice and free will, then it would feel great if they would choose to want to, I don't know, be with me. It's sort of like that great feeling when a dog or a cat likes you versus someone else, or that happy feeling where it just they don't like you for no reason, like that kind of thing. So I don't know.
With regards to this number 6, I've never heard that before, and I think it's well, what I'll say is that I really like the way that CK articulated that a lot of these things, earthquakes, tsunamis, natural disasters, were the result not necessarily of hate versus love, but of the gradual state of decay of the universe. But they arise just out of natural forces like heat and pressure differences and wind and stuff. And it's maybe not so much about any being's particular will, any being with personality and will. And I think like this idea of human suffering, like so the number 6 these are describing natural processes that are not particularly directed. And then all of the rest of this, like this talk of free will, like yeah, I mean I guess you can make the argument that we have free will, but like I know a lot of the things that I do or whatever, like they aren't necessarily things that I want to do, but like some of them are, but some of them are, have a lot to do with the fact that like I didn't eat that day and my blood sugar is low. Like certain chemicals into my bloodstream, or I haven't exercised or whatever. And so how can I say, like in the same way that the earth is in a state of decay and that's when some of these bad things happen or whatever, like I think our bodies are in states of flux. And sometimes those states of flux push us to make decisions that otherwise we wouldn't make. Like who knows, maybe Hitler had a chemical imbalance. Like he could have been a nice guy, but he had too much something coursing through his brain or whatever, and that resulted in this. And so, and if it's a result of some chemical flowing through his brain, to what extent is that really his will? And to what extent is that really his personality? So I think this argument about will, I don't know, I see a lot of holes in this. Like I don't think a lot of these things are directed, and even if they were, I don't think that's, like you said, a sufficient explanation. I think if there is an argument to be made about disasters or about people's capacity to do evil, whether or not it's their actual will or it's compulsion. I think rather than saying that God directed that or God allowed that or whatever, I think one thing that God does, or that Christianity does, and that a lot of faith systems do, is provide the rest of us a way to deal with it. Right? So like Hitler's crazy. Well, at least the Bible tells us to pray. At least the Bible tells good people to be released. I'm sure there are other ways. The Bible told people to hide in drinking and attic and things like that. And like when there are disasters like tsunami, like the Bible is what we have to teach us to pray and to help our fellow man.
Just reading through this, it dawned on me that what we all are having a habit of superimposing my own paradigm. Because I'm using a Christian perspective, 1 through 6, and I would say, well, I go for science and natural, although in the Bible we do see supernatural prediction into weather and things at times. Wednesday, Friday, my best friend took me behind the scenes where I could like the temples there. And he was here most foreign we've never seen it before. We've never seen this. And he took me in between Wat Po and Wat Aru, which are the town and the big temple across the river. He goes, these are warring temples, and the angels fight each other. And he begins to explain that's the reason the land here is flat, because of the battles that have taken place over the centuries between the spirits of these different temples. I was like, oh, with him in different ways, and he's very about Thai Buddhism. And in Thai Buddhism, number 6 is 100%. It's very much so that different things happen in the spirits that may fight on that.
Well, it's not terribly different than a lot of passages we read in the Old Testament about messengers, angels, or spirits that control certain cities or certain areas of land or certain groups of people. Whether that's true or not, that's the way a lot of ancient people and some modern people still
A while back, I did a little bit of Hindu in that they believe that God is the absolute epitome, personification, whatever, of love, and that people have the potential of obtaining that, being filled with love, but throughout history they fall. So from that perspective, God does not cause catastrophes or anything. God is love. It's people who choose to turn their backs on God and get attracted by other forces. So the free will also in that tradition is to recognize God completely or turn your back and go your own way and end up, in the dregs and everything. So you just don't think of God as being a creator of suffering.
In terms of finding spiritual logic, using earthly societies does it seem politically precise or maybe prime examples to have that answer? Because if you're going to work at science, maybe you're doing physical. Take tectonics are going to move, and Earth will move. These things will happen. It's inevitable. But I think what could be more logical in terms of spirituality is to actually incorporate number 5 and number 6 together in terms of having humans be given the free will and we have global warming and pollution and things like that. That then returns to us as human beings. Then we would cause those kind of, I guess, supernatural disasters.
We do cause a lot of things that are great in nature.
I used to always hold to this because I think it's beautiful and I think it's the best that Christians can do. But through experiences over the years of doing mentoring with some abused boys, they were physically and sexually abused while they were toddlers. Now they're in high school. I've known them since they're very little, and they are very violent high schoolers. And the chances, it breaks my heart to think about it, but these two boys, the chances of them, they've been kicked out of high school because they've attacked people and actually one assaulted a girl in high school. And saying that they made a bad choice is bullshit because
Or that they really have free will.
I mean, they didn't have free will at all. I mean, if the person who was supposed to take care of you, your grandpa sexually abused you as a 2-year-old, you didn't get free will. So I want to hold on to this and I want to believe it, but it's too simple.
It seems very logical for people who've never been hurt. It's a good argument for people who've never been hurt and grew up in perfect families and perfect environments. But determinism, and John, you brought this up too. The whole argument between determinism and free will is further subjectivism. That's a whole other argument. To what extent do we have free will? To what extent do we determine? Any other comments?
I think that was like the perfect phrase for this, like too simple. I think it's like presents free will as this blanket idea that you contribute like everything bad that happens. And I don't know, I feel like some things in this world just do randomly happen that are terrible and horrible. And for me personally, that's a part of why I find myself looking towards God, striving for God to somehow kind of save myself from that. But to kind of assume that everybody kind of starts off at the same starting point with the same kind of odds going for them or against them. Right? I think it's just overly simplistic and match to the real world.
My one last comment, I'm speaking too much, but I think a lot of this has got to do with our human limitation of very linear thinking. A equals B equals C, or A plus B will be C. And I must agree, it's much more complex than that. We cannot just, by this linear thinking, solve the whole problem. I don't think it's in our capacity with linear thinking. There must be many more factors taken into consideration.
Last comment.
I think the biggest thing missing from this, and I mentioned working with those who have been hurt or abused, and you know my story. I've been held back probably as much as anybody could imagine. The problem with this is, again, it's trying to think academically, and it's ignoring, it's removing God from the equation in its thought process as, oh, there's a God somewhere, but as far as a God who is real and personal and working. And for those who have, where there have been things that have occurred that are evil, things happen, like children. I manage children's home with abuse, 36 abuse children. It leaves out the part of there is a God who can heal and who can restore and who can, even though things may happen that may not be your part, those returning to Him, there can be those things. And again, great intellectual thinking, but ignoring a huge component of the equation.
The second theologian is Greg Boyd, and I'll just tell you, I like this guy's argument better. His best work on this subject is entitled Satan and the Problem of Evil. His basic argument is similar to Plantinga's, as it's a free will argument, but Boyd goes further in redefining omnipotence and omniscience. Boyd's theology is called open theism, or open theology, and he redefines the terms as follows. So you can see Boyd defines omnipotence. God can do everything God can do, meaning there are some things He cannot do or chooses from the beginning not to do. He redefines omniscience as God only knows what can be known, and not everything can be known because not everything is yet a reality. However, God knows all possibilities, and this is not actually original with Boyd. There's a theologian, I think in the 16th century, Molina, I think was his name, that had an idea similar to this. So there are some things God cannot do and some things God does not know. God cannot thwart free will, and God can only know possibilities perfectly. While His heart may be breaking when He sees His children suffering, He knows that if love is to exist in the world, hate must also be able to exist to an equal extreme. You cannot have one without the other. And while He may know, He being God, what a person is likely to do, He may sometimes be surprised by what they actually do. And while God always struggles against evil via His powers of persuasion, He stops at interfering with the actual free will of His creatures. Boyd's argument is much more complex than this, and my explanation just scratches the surface, but this is the gist of it. Both Plantinga and Boyd offer ways we can understand an omnipotent, omniscient, loving God, while at the same time understanding how suffering can exist. It doesn't solve all the problems, and I don't think humans can ever figure things out perfectly on this issue or any other, but it does give us a way to reconcile our faith with the sometimes cruel realities of this world. Our final question is, what do you think of Boyd's argument, especially his redefinitions of omnipotence and omniscience? What do you, that's what I just said, and how would you reconcile a loving God with evil and suffering in this world?
Actually, when I said I don't really believe that God is omnipotent and God is omniscient, actually that's kind of where I go with that. I had a friend whose young child died in one of those crib deaths. She was put in the crib that was produced wrong, and he basically suffocated in the crib. And it was very. She came to me. She didn't know how I believed. And she said, "How did God let this happen?" And basically, my belief is that God is kind of like an inventor, and He makes things, and He made us, and He made things happen, and He can sometimes fix things that He creates. this kind of thinking has given me a lot of, I guess, talk a lot about mercy, we talk a lot about forgiveness, it's helped me kind of forgive God for a lot of the things that I thought she did, because I don't think that, I think in many ways, there is someone floating around who is a deity who is broken-hearted all the time, because she cannot fix. And so, if we think of that, reconcile a lot of anger. But again, I mean, maybe that's how I feel. Maybe that's really, really pointless to some guy who was hurt me. I've never experienced that. But that's how I feel.
But in Boyd's God is a much more active God in the whole process of trying to prevent something. Right? If you read Satan and the Problem of Evil, God is constantly struggling against evil. Constantly in a battle against evil. And Boyd does believe literal angels and demons, so he envisions this spiritual battle going on that affects us in this reality. And I'm not entirely sure I disagree with that. I think I'm very, maybe pre-modern in that regard. I do think the devil is a real, I do think evil is a real, and I think the struggle has real role to play. But yeah. It's not this God just sitting back. Boy, it's an active God struggling, trying to persuade humans to use their free will responsibly. Sometimes he fails.
Maybe just like a follow-up. There's this theory that they call God as a watchmaker, where he, I mean, personally I don't subscribe to this, but the theory goes that a watch is made and then he set it and it goes and looks at it, and then he reads it and then it
I think he interferes, but he can't always do it. Sometimes the watch is broken the other way.
There's another school of theology called weak theology, where God truly is weak. God fails more than he succeeds. Boyd doesn't go that far, which is why I think there's not more suffering. There could be a lot more suffering.
Actually, I'm probably 99% agree with, especially these areas, which Daniel and I both agree with something.
It's rare.
And it is rare. But to go back to something Andy said, kind of had that too. I think part of God's omniscience, and there are things, there are kind of things that happen. Sometimes, again, we are trapped in our religious dreams. And I think sometimes tragedy can be preventative of a larger tragedy also. And so we see the hurt of a really bad situation, and we don't, I'll give an example. This happened to my mom. And I honestly think I learned something about this life in general. When we were a kid, we had these heaters in the wall that they like glowed red hot, like red things on it. And as a kid, I was wanting to touch it. I kept going and trying to touch it. My mom said, no. So finally one day, she took my finger and went over and very quickly, like, cut my finger to it. And of course, it burned. I mean, a little blister on the tip of my finger. And then my mom said afterwards, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I actually, on purpose, burned my child. I mean, I'm such a horrible mother. So my younger brother, when he came along and the same heater, he's 3.5 years younger, he kept doing the same thing. She said she would never do that again. So my brother went and stuck his entire stomach in front of the heater.
Oh.
And had a grid burned into his stomach that was there for years. Okay. I think sometimes when it comes to suffering and trauma, sometimes God burns the tip of our finger to prevent horrible tragedy. And we have just the same way a loving parent. My mom did that because she really was thinking the long-term bigger picture. She can see things that a 4-year-old child can see. And we have God who is that much greater than us, his thinking, his understanding, who he does see all these things. Maybe he does know things that are better for us, and we can see.
Personally, I find this theory like really scientific. If I feel
Sad
like
president.
Yeah, it's like if God was actually trying to, prevent evil in the world, personally, I would think and hope that God would do a lot better job of it. I find it really depressing and kind of like Amy's example of kind of the baby. I mean, something like that, I don't know what greater bad thing would be avoided by something that's horrible and senseless. So, yeah, personally, I don't put my dear super God as opposed to the God who is trying to kill me.
I actually think that perhaps this is one has a little bit personal. I'm getting really by in terms of this balance and things. And I think this is actually a little bit more easier to understand in terms of as human beings we have to live our lives to actually hold or use God as a crutch in everyday life when we're facing challenges. And in terms of his definition of omnipotence and omniscience, he's giving God a little bit more of a leeway rather than so we could actually commit to our own mistakes and give God a greater power over the one we believe in 100% greater provision.
The theologians, there are two denominations or two schools, Calvinists and Arminians. Calvinists basically, and this is a simplification, Calvinists believe God ordains everything that happens. Arminians believe more in free will. Boyd is an Arminian. There is a Calvinist pastor in his town who accuses him of trying to rescue God with this definition of omnipotence and omniscience. And that's probably the biggest challenge he faces in this redefinition and in his theology in general is he tries to make God more palatable, easier to live with.
I'm not sure whether this is there was a school in the US where after the admission process is done, then the admission officer kind of screech like, this is like we give it out and all the processes and he's kind of randomly grabs like 10% of the files here and 10% of the files here and then switch. So I kind of kept asking why he does that. And I kind of when I see this I kind of always think about that scenario that God kind of interpretates something and then he grabs something and he actually just lost a little bit which makes us perplexed and awe and indescribable feeling all the time. And I think that's how I think it has to go. It's like everything is lost, but everything is good. The good war gets rewarded, the evil war gets punishable on the spot and everything. And then people will have a way low satisfaction out of it, but I think people will have that much respectful or given honest. But I think the Japanese way of thinking that they have so many things unpredictable that they're living like they whatever. It's not very different attitude. And
always kind of believed the idea of the fact that God, whether God was real or God through, I say, the idea of God, that's an idea that is constantly wrong. Right? So in answering the question as to why there is suffering, I don't have an answer for that except to say God was less mature and he became more mature. And I think there's some evidence to bear that out, right? Like if you look at the God of all those things, right? Like we believe on Lent, and at a certain point he hardened Pharaoh's heart, which implies that he goes again. The first assumption that he only wants to do is right? And let the devil do that situation. And then as you kind of move forward through the timeline of the revelation of Christ, like you don't see him hardening his hearts, and he's not sending people to him as much. And so like God is getting better. And then if you continue to look throughout the process of history of life, God is changing the way that people think about women, thinking about them as second-class citizens, evolving and getting better on questions of race. Like initially he told people to church slaves and now he doesn't do that. God is evidently leading a lot of people in the United States and other world countries to be more tolerant of homosexuality, right? And to fight less. You know, like life expectancies are increasing because one, health is getting better, but also people aren't killing each other more because God's not directing us to do that. Right? So the question, why is there suffering? Well, maybe at a certain point God wasn't as smart. Like he's not omniscient. He wasn't as smart. He's getting smarter. And maybe he's getting more powerful. He's getting better at being his personality as well. And there's going to be cases of less and less suffering. He's going to teach us, reveal to us how to do that in better ways. Because scientists who research our scientific problems identify some complications. Maybe suffering is getting less. Maybe God originally wasn't. Getting better, like all of us originally we weren't as good. When we were kids, we were last, we were selfish, right? So we were getting better. Maybe that same thing is happening to God.
Read up on process theology, because everything you just said is process. God is evolving. God is growing. Again, we have time for one more.
When it comes to stuff like this, I like to think of the analogy of a book in that I envision myself as, or maybe, and okay, I could be wrong in saying this, but in my imagination, I view like like as if I were a dot, or a letter, or a period. I would never be able to know what would happen inside the next page, or the entire book. All I know is that I'm inside a process, or I'm inside a plot. All books, or at least all good ones, have a point to it. So, I mean, the best I can do is have the faith and just the understanding that that maybe it's all there for a reason, and that's all I'm able to know. But beyond that, as one little dot or a letter, I can't know the plot, I can't know the book, I can't read it, I can't get off my page. So that's when I just sort of trust faith.
Very good comment.
We change this. All right, another Jason Mraz is in all over the image.
If this life is one act, why do we lay all these traps? We put them right in our path when we just wanna be free. I will not waste my days.